Hey everybody, it's October 31st, the last day of the month for 2016, and today it's actually a pretty nice day outside. We've got the New England fall weather upon us, but it feels more like a very late summer or early spring day. So anyways, uh, what I want to do is I want to put the lower gear case back on the outboard today. And what I've got to do is I've got to figure out whether or not what gear this thing is in, if it's in a gear. So, because you got to have this shift, this shifter in a certain position, and it all depends on whether or not it's a late model or an early model. And I'm not quite sure what I've got, so I'm just going to try and figure this out on my own. I noticed that from disassembling my other gear case, that by default it almost seems to be in forward gear. So it almost seems like it's almost probably like a limp home mode that it can enter. Whereas if something happens with your linkage or something, that it's going to be stuck in forward gear. The idea being you might be able to get back to the dock or wherever you're going, and just kill the engine when you get there and glide in. As opposed to being completely dead in the water, stuck in neutral, for instance. So I'm thinking that might be what the case is here, which would mean more than likely that you're going to want the linkage on the motor in the forward gear position when you reinstall the gear case. And then I think on later versions, they want you to have the gear case in neutral and the linkage in neutral. So I'm going to play around with that and see if we can't figure out how to do this. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick is I got an interesting message through YouTube that led to a series of emails back and forth with a gentleman. George, if you're watching this, I want to give you a quick hello. Not going to give you his last name because I haven't gotten permission from him to do so. But, well, guys, I've been ruckered. That's what I decided I'm going to call it. So, for those of you who watch Keith Rucker's channel, vintagemachinery.org, I believe, he's got a great channel with a lot of really good information on there. And he does a video series called Odds and Ends. He talks a lot about his new shop that he's building. It's a beautiful shop. Yeah, jealous I am. But prior to that, pretty much before he started building the workshop, his Odds and Ends series tended to concentrate on items that he had picked up, and whether they be items that he had bought on eBay or at flea markets, or he goes to Arnfest and some other places. And that. Another thing that happens to him a lot is that he gets viewer mail, and he gets boxes of goodies sent to him, often completely free. And if you are a regular viewer of his videos there, you'll know that he's always got this heck of a grin. He's got that what's that expression there, but something I don't remember the exact southern expression there, but it's like a possum eating grin or something like that. I don't know. Sorry if I'm messing that up. But the point is, it's hard. His beatific smile and his joyful demeanor is contagious. It's hard to not find yourself smiling along with him as you watch him showing some of the great things that viewers have sent him over the years. And I've always thought, wow, that is so cool that people enjoy watching him that much, and just feel the need to share these things with him. So, getting back to what happened to me, I received a message from a gentleman one state away from me in New Hampshire, and he said that he enjoys watching my project videos, and that he's got not one but two outboard motors that are apparently similar models, within 1 year of each other, and same horsepower, same make, and everything. And he was saying that he's not going to bother messing with them or bothering having them repaired, and that they're sitting in his garage right now on stands, and that he would like to donate them to my cause, which is apparently, I guess at this point, I would describe my cause as the hopeless pursuit of trying to save old junk that nobody else would probably bother. I don't know. I'm not saying that very eloquently, but I guess he sees me messing with this old motor and figures if I'm willing to put this much time into this thing, who knows what I might do with something that's maybe even more worthwhile. So I hear footsteps up there, so I would say I'm probably moments away from being interrupted yet again. Maybe not. False alarm. Yeah, so anyways, so I've been in email communication with this this gentleman, and I just I'm tickled pink that somebody thought enough to donate these motors to me. So at some point in the near future, I'll be heading up to New Hampshire and procuring these two outboards, and you know, taking into account all of the other projects I've got going and everything, it's going to probably be a while before I dig into those, but we'll probably do an initial walk around anyways, kind of whet everybody's appetite for future, for what's going to probably be some future outboard motor videos series on, I think he said they were Suzuki outboards. So anyways, just wanted to mention that as something that's coming. And to recap, I've decided to coin the term ruckered. If you are a YouTube video person, if you're somebody who provides YouTube content and somebody just out of the blue decides to bestow upon you a gift just because they like the content of your video, I'd call that being ruckered. All right. So back to this thing. I've got a pair of vice grips on the shaft up here, and I've got a old sock up here to keep me from digging into this shaft too much. Now, if I rotate this drive shaft clockwise, which is the only way that it's supposed to go, notice if I rotate it clockwise, it's turning. If I turn this clockwise, it's turning this clockwise. Matter of fact, if I, you know, to help everybody visualize it even better, I can actually put it right on the splines there. So again, we're going to go clockwise, and voila, clockwise. Which is, apparently, going to push the water back, drive the boat forward. So it's in forward gear right now. So, I should be able to take this outside, make sure the linkage on the motor is set to the forward position, and remount this lower gear case. Well, I'm running out of daylight, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this today, but I tilted this motor up. The only thing that's holding it upright right now is the fact that the that pivot shaft that it pivots on is still so tight. It's actually keeping it in the upright position. The problem I've got right now that I totally forgot about the fact that this whole reverse latching mechanism that's all rotted out to nothing is still in there. I forgot to take that out. I'm going to have to replace that at some point. And that has to do with this shaft right here. There's a clevis that is detached right now. I took the pin out. I can't reattach it to what's left of the thing because it's so rusted. I think if I get this piece out altogether, I can take this rod out. This rod has to do with ensuring that the way this works is when the motor's going along in the water, if it hits an underwater obstruction, the whole motor can literally tilt up like this to minimize the amount of damage. The problem is that when you put the motor in reverse,
because the prop is basically pulling the boat backwards, the motor was going to want to try and tilt up on you. So there's a lock mechanism that locks it in the down position, and this rod right here actuates it. So what happens is when you shift the boat into reverse, this lock engages that latch and keeps the motor locked in, and then automatically unlocks it when you go back forward again, so that if you hit something submerged, the thing will move. So what I want to try and do is I want to try and get this whole mechanism out. It's held in by this pin right here. I can't tell how that is supposed to stay in there. I don't know if it's just a press fit. All right, that does not want to seem to move at all. I don't know whether or not that's just because it's so rusted or what's going on there. I'm going to try and push it from the other direction. Yeah, it's not moving. Where is it? I don't know if there's a clip in there or what. It's so badly rusted, you can barely tell what's what. Oh, actually, I just got that whole, linkage out.
Is that what you wanted out?
Part of what I wanted out. I'm still going to have to take this other piece out, though, to replace it. All right, mystery solved. I looked at the parts breakdown online and actually saw that there's actually I looked at the parts breakdown online and I saw that there's actually a cotter pin that goes through this piece and keeps it locked on that pin. So the pin can't slide out until the cotter pin can move. The cotter pin is probably, oh, I don't know, barely visible or out of the way, all of the above. Oh, IDC cotter pin. Yep. I can't figure out how to get that out. Hey. Can't believe that actually came out one piece. The only thing more shocking to me than this cotter pin actually coming out without breaking, actually, that must be stainless steel. That's not actually rusted bad at all. Anyways, the only thing more shocking to me would be is if this pin comes out easily now. Well, that punch, I brought this punch out to push that. Oh. Well, I didn't do a very good job putting my tools away yesterday, did I, Mark? Left this punch out here all night. Well, now that I get the cotter pin out, it still doesn't want to come out. That's disheartening. I think there was only one cotter pin in there holding that in. Shouldn't be two. At least that's not what they showed in the diagram. I'm thinking it's just seized in there. Gonna have to maybe even, might even have to cut it. Ruin the pin in the process, but replace the pin and the piece that's bad. Not good. We'll get another, get a larger punch. Kids are riding their motorcycles today. Beautiful day for it. It's getting dark earlier here now in New England this time of year. I can't believe it's November 2nd, 2016. Let's see, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like 60 degrees out. Ow! Ow! Ooh, that hurt. I don't think that's budging at all. Nope. It's seized onto that pin. And if I keep wailing on it, I actually run the risk of actually breaking this cast. In other words, this right here, this part of the casting right here is only about that thick. So I'm slamming on this because the
the pin doesn't want to slide out of the piece that's in here. The piece that's in here is actually pushing on the back side of the casting on this side. And if I break that, then I'm really going to regret it. So I think I'm just going to have to sacrifice the pin and just cut this. So I think if I cut it in two pieces, well, actually, if I cut out a center section of it right here, then the other pieces will slide right out of there, because I can see that that's pivoting in there, no problem. And the reality is, I don't need to do that right now. I could put the lower unit on without doing that. So let's put the lower unit on. So I think what I should do is I should lower this back down, open this up, put my linkages back on, at least the shift linkage, or at least make sure this thing is in forward gear. Alright, so if I look down in here, I can actually see that this is where the shift linkage attaches, okay? And what happens is when this slides back and forth, it's actually moving this linkage over here, which is turning a rod that goes down in the mid-mount section there, or whatever you call that thing. So the question is, what position does this need to be in forward? Well, that's a very good question. I do see that there's a limit to the travel that it can have because of the slot. So it can only go all the way over that way to that point and stop. And it can only go over this way so far before it hits up against something. So I'm thinking halfway between those two extremes might be neutral. I guess I could probably use the shift cable itself as a clue. This is an adjustment right here that I haven't messed with. Oh, you know what it would help? It would help if I knew which one of these was which. One of these is the throttle, one of these is the shifter. Let's see. This one is the throttle because it's much shorter. This one is the shifter. It's held captive in a mount over here. This contraption here, for lack of a better term. There's a rubber grommet deal here that's completely trashed. It looks like its job is to keep water from intruding in here. So it definitely looks like that could stand to be replaced at some point. And then you pop this in here. And this just apparently lives in this hole down here. Come on now. Come on. Alright, it's going to take a little bit of finessing. I guess I shouldn't even bother taking this off until I get this thing unscrewed and ready to go.
What's that linkage for? What's that linkage for?
One of them is for the throttle, and the other one is for the other one's for the gear shifter. All right. Well, right now it seems to be in the all the way back position, which is, I don't know what that according to the position of the shifter right now, it must be forward. It's going to be easier for me to attach this in reverse first. So in other words, you can see that this is way back here. But if I slide this all the way back here, then I can't get that piece in the nut on very easily because the linkage, this linkage is kind of in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift it all the way into reverse, which should move this forward. And which way did that just move?
It didn't move anything.
Huh?
It's this one right here.
Which one? Really?
Yeah. See?
Check the other one. See if the other one moves at all.
Nope.
Does it?
Nope.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which way's it going?
That way.
Okay.
Why?
Why not?
Why, you put the wrong one on?
No, I didn't put the wrong one on. I was moving the wrong lever. That's not what I expected. So that's all the way. Here, Aiden, come over here and work the control for me. I want to see this myself. See this lever right here?
Yeah.
When I tell you to pull it all the way back here like this, okay? Got it? So, we'll leave it like that. Which appears to be forward. Alright, go ahead. Put it all the way back into reverse. That's it? Mm-hmm. Huh. Boy, that doesn't move anywhere near as much as I thought it would. Alright, put it all the way forward again. Okay, leave it there. It's not easy to get to no matter what. Alright, wait a minute. I know that comes back. I just don't know why it's not moving now. I gotta move the tripod. There we go. Okay. So this is gonna go on here like this. Come on now. Oh, you stinker.
Do you need it anymore?
No, I'm all set. Thanks. Oh. Idiot alert. Idiot alert. How about this hole goes down over this pin like that. And then the coupler or the little clamp goes down over the stud, and that's it. Duh. Oh man, do I feel like an idiot. Alright, great. Except for one thing. I managed to drop that nut down in here. I could see it. But of course it's going to be non-metallic, so I'm not going to be able to grab it with a magnet. I've got some really long needle nose pliers I might be able to grab it with. Hopefully I can get it with these. I got one of those long, flexible things with a little wired claw in the end there that you can activate. I know I have one of those somewhere. At the moment I can't find it, and since it's getting darker, I figured I'd just, you know what, these aren't going to work. I can't get these underneath there. Not enough clearance. Oh, wait a minute. Spoke too soon. Yeah, no, they're too long. Tips are too long. Okay. And the flashlight that I brought out is cheap, Chinese piece of crap. My favorite flashlight has gone missing. I believe it was made by a company called Coast. It was a company in the Midwest, I think. They make tactical lights. So like really durable, high power LED flashlights for like military applications, I guess, or like police or something like that. I'm just guessing. And when Radio Shack was closing their local store, they were blowing stuff out the door, and that flashlight was supposed to sell for like $50, which seems ridiculous for a little flashlight. But boy, after I got it for like 10 or 15 bucks on a crazy closeout kind of deal, put some batteries in it, and that quickly became my favorite flashlight. I mean, it was just really rugged, had a really nice lens on it. You could focus it for wide beam or narrow beam. Yeah, I know, going on about a stupid flashlight, right? But you know, every once in a while you'll come across some sort of a tool of some type, and a flashlight is a tool. Some say I'm a tool. But sometimes you just come across something and you just think, hey, you know what? When they made this, they actually got it right. That's how I felt about that damn flashlight. And I just, for the life of me, do not know what happened to it. I remember the last time I used it, we were having a little campfire in the backyard here and had some friends over, and I used it to go with the boys over to the wood pile and get some wood and come back to the fire, and I must have put it, you know, down on the chair or something. I don't know. I just don't know. What's the point in going on about it? I just don't know what happened to it. It's getting dark. I gotta quit. I guess I can go down and work on the wood shaper.